All right, guys, welcome to the Golf Podcast Live. I'm your host, Raphael Calamat, and today's a very special day. We're talking Masters.
Can you hear me, Michael?
Yeah, we could hear you. We could hear you. Just doing an introduction for the Masters. Today, we've got a very special guest. His name is Mike Kelly from Castilla Roofing in Florida. I am excited. Guys, it's Masters Week. And we've got some picks for you, and we could talk about this tournament. For those of you who don't know too much about the Masters, it's one of the biggest majors in the world. We've got 4 majors. It's scheduled for a full week in April, usually. It's at the Augusta National Golf Club in Georgia. It initially started with Bobby Jones and with investment banker Clifford Roberts, who started the Masters tournament in 1934. Lots of history, lots of tradition, and we've got a show for you. With us today, Mike Kelly from Castilla Roofing. Mike, how are you?
Very good, Raphael. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. Michael, how was your weekend?
It was fantastic. Glad to be here with both of you. Welcome back, Mr. Kelly. You're looking good.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, look, we've got a crazy week. You got all these 13 LIV players coming in, really big major champions coming into the fold. Great weekend of golf that we just saw. And, I'd love to talk about our picks because we only have Mike on for a few minutes. Let's talk about our picks, get right to it. I'm going to throw some names out there, and I kind of categorize this. So tell me what you guys think. I think one of my picks, I got a top 10 pick. So I got a past Masters champ pick. For me, it's Tiger Woods because you never know with the guy. I don't know if he's going to withdraw, get DQ'd, or just not be able to finish or shoot a high number. Who knows? Then I've got a LIV League player is Brooks Koepka. With everything that happened last year, him actually losing the tournament, not winning it. A PGA Tour player that I'm picking is there's no doubt that he's got some of the best stats on the PGA Tour, Scottie Scheffler. Of course, I'm Canadian. I'm in Toronto. I'm picking as a Canadian player, Corey Connors is our best Canadian pick. As far as a U.S. player pick, this is going to be a weird one. I got it tossed up between Dustin Johnson and Brian Harman. I'm sure those aren't first picks for everybody, but that's what I got. Before I go on with the other 5 picks, how about yourself, Mike? Do you got any picks?
Well, Scottie Scheffler is playing so good right now.
I think, Mike, you're breaking up there a little bit. All right. I think you were talking about Scottie Scheffler, right? Because, Mike, we've got you breaking up here. We don't got a very good signal.
I was talking about Scottie as my favorite. Tiger as, obviously my fan favorite. And with the warm weather, I think Tiger can hang in there and make the cut, and possibly, because he knows the course so well, he may even win the darn thing. Then as far as LIV is concerned, I'd have to go with you, Raphael.
Right. So Brooks Koepka, right, Mike? I think we got Mike's breaking up a little bit. We don't have a very good signal there. So you were talking. All right, Mike, I think we got a bad signal from your internet connection or something like that. So that's Mike Kelly. We're going to try to get him back on. Maybe we could get Mike to disconnect and then come back on, and we could talk a little bit about Castilla Roofing. Castilla Roofing provides repairs, installation in Florida. And there's a number on your screen for free estimates. This is a pretty wild Masters, Mike. There's so many pre-tournament events. You have the women's amateur, the drive, chip, and putt. as well as all the traditions that go into before going out and playing on Thursday, which is like the dinner. You got the par 3 contest. It's all very exciting. I see that you got a graphic up there with some of the players. Maybe we could get back on there and scroll through.
Yeah. Here we go. This is alphabetical off the Masters website, masters.com. You can see who's all in the field in case you don't know. But it's a star-studded field. First major of the year. LIV is here. They got something to prove. I think Brooks has a great chance out of the LIV crew. Nick Taylor would be my Canadian pick. But look at Akshay Bhatia. Look what he did this weekend, right? Nearly blows a 6-shot lead. He ends up taking it. Made it really interesting for a while. There's a lot of stories here. Got, Pat
For LIV, yeah.
Anyone on this page? Here's your
And
Corey Collins. There's somewhere in here. There's an amazing story. We don't know what it's going to be yet. But by Sunday,
how many players? What do we got? 89, 90 players, something like that.
Yeah, probably maybe a little more.
Bhatia, what a great win for him. They call it the Texas two-step right now. They went to play in San Antonio, TPC. I was out there this year, actually, out in San Antonio. And the course is pretty incredible. The wind plays a big part in it. Looks like someone like Rory McIlroy had a good final round, but I'm tired of talking about Rory McIlroy for 10 years. 10 years talking about him making, the career Grand Slam and having his chances. Last year he didn't even make the cut. I think there's way too much pressure. I think he's taken on way too much responsibility. Wow. In the realm of golf, everything from commercials to his spot on the policy board, doing interviews. I think the best thing he did was go see Butch, because Butch is going to kick him in the balls and kick him in the ass and tell him straight up, stop doing all the extracurricular, focus on your golf. I mean, he's got enough responsibilities as a father, as a family guy, traveling. Just play golf. Look what Scotty Scheffler's doing, Mike. Scotty doesn't do any of that. He's not even on social media. He hasn't even watched. He was asked, I think, today about Netflix. He said, I haven't even seen it. And everybody's surprised. He doesn't have time. He doesn't care.
Well, as we get older in general, we take on a lot of extra curricular activities, whether it's business or hobbies, passion. Rory was the poster boy for the LIV controversy. Jay Monahan propped him up, like a puppet. And Rory was taking the heat of it straight on. He got very vocal with a lot of players. He's been cooling off of that. And I think it's time. Just focus on your golf game. It's that simple. You want to win majors. You're not going to have the best chance to win majors if you're getting involved in all the player disputes and trying to be the leader. Like, just focus on your game. I would say he needs to be a little bit selfish right now and focus on golf. Right? Obviously, it's family, whatever. But there's a lot of distractions. But if you want to be contending in the majors and the big field events, you need to be practicing on your game. No, there's no way around it.
No, I can't agree with you enough, Michael. I think Mike's trying to get back in.
I gotta add Kelly back here. Let's keep
the graphic up there and keep on scrolling and talking about those players. Oh, we got Mike back from Castilla Roofing. Isn't that great? Yep. Mike's in the Tampa area in Florida. And how's the weather out there for you? That good?
Yeah, about 85.
That's exciting.
86.
All right. Well, we don't have too much of a great connection with Mike, but we're trying our best.
How is it up in Toronto?
You know what? It's not too bad today. It's about 60. So not fantastic, but it's a little bit. It must be the eclipse. That's why the connection's not working out. Maybe. If you're just joining us, I've got Michael Bleakley in Vancouver, from ECS, myself, Raphael Calamat. I'm in Toronto, and from Tampa, Florida,
That's
we've
what
got
I'm
one
figuring.
of our one of our ongoing sponsors and good friends, Mike Kelly from Castillo Roofing. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can reach Mike, get your roof repaired, get an installation, get a free estimate, for crying out loud. Not many things in life that are free, right, Mike? And so
No, that is true.
well, we're looking at the other picks. I could see that you got the graphic up on the board.
That's right,
Mike. If
can you hear me?
We've got. I could hear you now. I might be a little delayed. I think you come in afterwards, after I've already spoken for a bit, but that's good. I'm glad I could hear you. As far as an international player, something who's really interesting is John Rahm. He just made the switch to LIV. Didn't have a very good weekend out in Miami. And him being the winner last year at the Masters and a favorite, and everything turning around, taking all that money, freeing up his schedule. It should be interesting to see how he does. I think Brooks Koepka's got a very good chance. Has got a lot to prove compared to last year, where his tournament fell apart. Do you guys, Mike and Michael, have any dark horses, guys that people don't have on the radar that might make a splash? Because out of these 89, 90 players that are now going to play, including Akshay Bhatia, who do you think as a dark horse or a wild card will do well?
Well, Taylor Gooch isn't there, so I have to take him off my list. I would say Joaquin Niemann would be a slight dark horse, even though he's trending in the right direction, but no one's expecting him to do anything there. He's a solid player, so I have a feeling I would put Joaquin Niemann in that category.
Excellent.
Call me crazy.
Yeah, no, he's good trending. He got the invite through the Masters organization because of his efforts of trying to go down on the world ranking points outside of LIV. So he got his invite a couple of weeks ago, and so he'll be playing. He likes to play that high cut, which is perfect for those greens at the Masters, and he's going to be, getting the ball up in the air and landing the ball soft. I like his gameplay. He hits the ball a long way, even though he has that long reverse C. I can't believe his longest shot was 370 yards at the Blue Monster in Doral, which is absolutely insane as far as distance is concerned for a little guy like him.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, maybe you could tell us a little bit about Castillo Roofing. Hopefully we could hear you come through. We've got your QR code, we've got your logo and your information on here. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do in Florida. Well, I don't know if you could hear us.
I think we're having some tech challenges with Mike, so we'll just give you a rundown on Castillo Roofing. They've
yeah,
we do
absolutely.
a lot of re-roofs down here in Naples, and we're spreading. We're expanding all over the state of Florida, Palm Beach.
All right, so
Yeah,
it looks like we're going to have to let Mike go because he's really, we're really breaking up. But basically, what Mike was saying, all the way from whether you're in West Palm Beach or you're in Tampa, Miami,
I don't know
or Tallahassee, if you need your roof repaired. So we're going to, Michael, let's click Mike off, and we'll go through all of that together. So basically, anywhere you need repairs done, installation, go see Mike in Florida. We've got his number down. We've got his info. So just click on the QR code. Look, these picks are pretty incredible, Mike. I've got another dark horse on my side that people, maybe don't talk about at all because he doesn't even get much coverage. But that's Adrian Meronk. Now, Adrian Meronk has won multiple times recently. He came off the DP World Tour as the player of the year, the most amount of plays. He's the first pick coming into the PGA Tour where he did not accept that invitation and moved to LIV instead. Now, he's been struggling a little bit in the past few events, getting used to things. I actually said in a press conference yesterday that the Blue Monster was the hardest course he's ever played in his whole life. It's long. It's really inconsistent with all that Bermuda rough. It's really sticky. Obviously, it's called the Blue Monster because of all the water that's on that golf course. And at one point, he brought it down to about 8 under. He was in the top 5 and then kind of fell back. I think finished 5 under. But he's my dark horse. Like I know he could win. And that's why I'm picking him. I know he's won in the past. He's won worldwide on different tours, and that's why he's my dark horse and wild pick.
He could win. That would be a very low percentage pick. Definitely a dark horse, being his first time out at the event. But that would be a huge story. It kind of looks like you a little bit back in your younger days.
Well, he's right? 6 foot. He's 6'5", and supposedly he's 6'6" or 6'7" with his spikes on, because he actually, how everybody kind of makes their height a little bit more on their profiles. He actually, I heard, put his height down.
Oh,
an inch.
He could loan a few inches to Brian Harmon.
Yeah, he's got a sign of he hits the ball sort of on the upswing as well. Super high, ridiculous ball flight, but it's very piercing. I think if he had even better technique, he could hit it further, because he's not that long. He hits at 320, 330. His average is about 305, between 300 and 305 the last 2 years. So, he's not the longest guy, but with his reach and the circumference of his swing from the club head all the way to the top of his swing is so long. I'm sure he could hit it a lot further. Now, I've seen him hit shots 360, 350 on tour, but you never know what the conditions are, right? If it's dry, downhill, downwind, all of that. But I think it's the effortlessness in hitting those long irons. He hits a very high 2 and 3 iron, and he could hit it 250. So that's something that people don't have in their bag, and he's able to shape it left to right, right to left. Obviously, I've been following his game a little bit. How about players over 50, Mike? Why don't we scroll through there, because there is a couple. No pun intended.
There are a few. Let's see, couples. We'll go one by one. Where do you think couples make the cut or miss the cut? What do you think?
I think he's make the cut based on experience, and he's still got it. He plays well on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance to make the cut. I'd say 60-40 he makes the cut.
Okay, good.
That's my humble opinion. Who's next here? Where's another old one?
Vijay Singh.
Vijay Singh, I'm getting there. We're going alphabetically down here. So yeah, Vijay Singh, we'll get there. And what do you? He could make the cut.
I think look, one of the greatest Masters 9s I've seen in my life. Is it 2001 when he won at the Masters? I think it's 2000. I have to check, but he won right around the Tiger era. That's the year he won like multiple times, like 5 or 6 times. Absolutely ridiculous year. Obviously, that's a long time ago, but he's still. You could ask any player. He's in that list of like top 10 hardest working players ever.
He's
routine,
fit.
practicing.
He's a beast in the gym.
Yeah, he's not a little fellow. He won that event last year with his son, the PNC.
Yeah, he's got a ton of experience. He knows the property really well. A lot of the game is decided on the greens, and age doesn't matter on the greens. And I don't feel he's suffering in the distance category either. And then we've got Phil Mickelson here in his shades and his kind of Miami Vice scruffy look here. What do you think about Phil this time?
He's my pick.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's a great question. I say Phil. You know what? What is he, 53 this year, turning 53? I think he has an excellent opportunity based on his experience. Again, also, he's the type of guy who could explain how he does every single shot from 150 yards in on every hole, tells you the shelf he needs to land it on, tells you the amount of spin rate he has on his ball, and he's not talking crap. Most players can't explain and dial in their numbers like Phil does. I don't know if you ever saw Mark Baldwin, who's been on the show, recently went over to Phil's place out in Arizona, and supposedly in his backyard, sort of like a compound's got a driving range with dozens of target greens with specific yardages, bunkers, different sands, different grasses, and the chipping and the pitching and the undulations that he has. It blew him away. Like, Mark Baldwin's a great journeyman pro who has been working on the game, and for him to share that information that Phil has and to blow a player away who's been trying to, play golf at the highest level for so many years is a testament to how good this guy is.
Yeah, we can imagine Mark Baldwin like getting to spend a weekend with Phil, learning a short game. Like, what a dream.
Yeah.
So where do you think Phil's going to finish? I think he's got a chance to make the cut. High probability.
I give him a top 20.
Okay.
I give him like a guaranteed top 20. Yeah.
Now, Jose Maria Olazabal.
Miscut.
Yeah, I agree. Miscut. He's a guy. This guy is it's a grinder. I remember years ago a tournament in the Middle East. I forget the exact tournament at the moment. He had the flu. Doctor told him don't play golf, and he goes out and he wins it. So like you never count out a sick golfer. But yeah, I think he's going to miss the cut.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the movie Sevi, or there's another documentary, Sevi and Me, and
I did see that,
there's also an audio profile of the experiences Sergio Garcia's had with him, Olafable, and Rom talking about Sevi, and just all of them complimenting each other, because those are four guys who all won the green jacket. Sergio won it kind of late in his career as well. He's sort of got the career I think Rory will have at the Masters. I think Rory's going to break through, but it's not when we expect it. I think when the conversation is gone, he's going to take it. He's going to win it. And I don't think it'll be this year.
No. It's not that I don't want to see Rory win it. I would like to see him complete that Grand Slam. It's just, again, it's a hard sport. And the Masters is a very challenging tournament. Anything can happen. When it comes down to making putts, there's a little bit of luck involved. You can stroke the perfect putt, the perfect weight, doesn't mean it's going in. So, it's coming down to getting his hot putter timed with a good ball striking week. And we all know he can do it. But it's golf. It's just, there's no guarantee that for anything. So, But here we got 2003 champion Mike Weir, our Canadian.
Well, it's unfortunate. I hate to do this, but I think it's going to be a miscut. I think the course has gotten way too long for a guy like him. He's not even performing at the highest level on the Champions Tour, where the courses are shorter, the rough is not as long. Obviously, the ball rolls out at the Masters. There's no longer rough, although there are a lot of trees, Rays Creek, the undulation, the uneven lies, and the fast greens. I haven't seen his putting hot either this year. So just based on statistics and how he's been playing over the last 2 years, I'm going to say Mike Weir's a miscut.
I agree with you on that. We all want to see him, make the cut and maybe squeeze into the top 25 or something. But everything you said, I think, is bang on. The course is a lot longer than it played, generations ago. Even though when he won, it was a bit wet and would have been technically playing a little longer comparatively. But they've done a lot of tweaks to it, so I don't see him making the cut, unfortunately. There's 5 amateurs at the field. Yeah, let's just have
did we cover all the guys over 50? Is that everybody?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
Mickelson, Couples, Vijay Singh, Weir,
Olafable.
Okay.
Yeah. We can go
All
back
right.
through that, but I think we've covered them.
Before we cover the before we go to the amateurs, before we go on there, I just want to mention that just a special thanks to Castillo Roofing, Mike Kelly. Make sure you reach out to him. We're going to be talking about Mike Dickson and Lagmaster Sports later on when we talk about our giveaway bundle for $500 in training aids and gifts during Masters weekend. All you guys have to do, go to YouTube, click on subscribe. It's the channel we're trying to grow. We're on 15 different platforms, but YouTube is something that we're trying to grow. If you click on there, you will be in the contest to win, and we'll be announcing that on Sunday on our social media, and we'll have Mike Dickson on next Monday to talk about the products themselves. All right.
Absolutely.
You know what? There it is, the contest alert, $500 value. There's the graphic. You get the rock shot, you get the cap, you get the jersey, the mini club, the training aid, all for free. All for free.
We have the rock shot and the Lagmaster training aid. It's sent to me here in Vancouver. Raph, I'll send yours out to you shortly. I've tried it at the range. They're great tools. The mini practice club looks sweet for traveling if you like to, or swinging in your living room so you don't knock out your chandelier, scuff the ceiling like many of us have. Hey, Raph, remember that place on 30th and Main we used to live in? There was dimple marks, all flop shots up and down the stairs. And
so Mike and I back in the mid 90s rented a big house out in East Vancouver, 2 garages, 4-bedroom, 3-level. And we used to pitch and putt inside the house with real golf balls. That's how good we were. Or dumb.
We thought we were. No, there's dimple patterns all over the drywall and holes in the walls. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, we made a mess of that place.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that was over 30 years ago, Mike.
Yeah, crazy. But the key to this contest is follow either our X, the Lagmaster on X or us. Follow us on Instagram. And Lagmaster's link is in our bio for Instagram. So all you need to do is follow one of Lagmaster's channels. It could be on Insta or X, and then make sure you pair that with following our YouTube channel. That's it. Just follow 2. You don't have to follow them all. Make it really easy for you. And then when Mike is on next Monday, we will have the winner selected, and we'll announce it then and reach out to contact them. And Mike Dickson will send out this sweet prize package.
Absolutely amazing. You know, getting back to the Masters, and maybe we could get our Lagmaster Sports logo up, and as well as, you know, maybe get the QR code so people could see this. But really, the Masters is unlike any other tournament. I don't want to sound like a cliche, like Nance is speaking, unlike any other tournament. But it really is with the pre-tournament events. Again, the drive, chip, and putt. Now the women's amateur, the par 3 contest, the jacket, the dinner, the player invitations, and how they go out. What other tournament do players actually, Mike, go out and post their invitation on social media? Like, you're not going to post that you're playing at the John Deere. You're not posting when you're at the Open or the PGA Championship. I think it's really great. It's a great tradition. Think about the other traditions. What about the opening tee shot? When you have the old players like Jack Nicklaus coming out, and Lee Elder and Tom Watson, and it goes on and on. Isn't that cool?
It's a great tradition, and it's like all those players, they don't want to be the ceremonial tee shot person. They don't. They want to be competing, but as these guys get a little older, they realize how important it is to have those ceremonial tee shots and participate in the event in its entirety. It's a great tradition.
As we try to get our mugs back onto the screen, full size, one of the things I'm going to talk about for tradition as well that's pretty cool, the caddies. Like the caddy tradition, wearing the all white, jumpsuit overalls, I think that's pretty unique. They've kept that in play, and the caddy relationship has changed considerably. Even going back to the 70s.
business partner to some degree. Like the caddy is very important, to the player, and they keep the player calm. They know how to not manipulate the player, but just they know how to work with him to keep them in the mindset in the present. It's really important. But when you hear of the Masters, it's quite a few years ago, you used to have to use their caddies. Like remember Raymond Floyd won for the first time at the pardon me, not Raymond Floyd. It was Fudgy Zeller. He used one of the local caddies, won for the first time ever at the event, and it's never happened since. So, there's a lot to it. So I actually missed that tradition. I think that was really cool that they had to use the local caddies.
Yeah, but Clifford Roberts was sort of from the old school, and he was the club co-founder. And some of the things that were going on and the transition that was going on, it was pretty bad. I got to admit that, the only thing, I remember one of the saying, as long as I'm alive, golfers will be white and caddies will be black. I don't know if you remember how that really hit the media waves before social media. That was ridiculous, right? But that's a pretty crazy thing to say, but it's part of
you read that quote.
I don't agree with it, but by any stretch of the imagination, it's ridiculously stupid.
Just reading a quote. So, and I cringed as you read it. I know, I remember that comment, from decades ago, but could you imagine someone said that now? Jeez.
No.
Right. It's just no,
it's actually a privilege being a caddy. You're actually a team member with the player, with his whole team, which is, could go anywhere from a psychologist to physiotherapist to his agent and his coach and his caddy, security guard. You're actually going there early. You're walking out the yardages. And this is over the last 10 years, I've seen the evolution in the game where players during interviews are saying, well, we decided to play this. We, right? It was never like that. When Jack was saying, I made the decision, I did this. Your caddy was really there. And to this day, Jack believes that, the player should be calling everything and walking out his own yardage and doing all the work. And the caddy should just be, kind of reconfirming everything to him. But he's from the old school. And so the caddies played a much bigger role than ever before.
Yeah, you think about it. I mean, I've played with caddies before, and it's usually like a buddy on a bag for a certain tournament, and it's hit or miss. Sometimes you regret bringing that buddy out because they don't understand golf well enough. So, but there's been a few times when it's been magic. But I would always want to understand the number myself. I believe. Not just trust what the caddy says. Obviously, these guys know each other very well. So, and the player's got to be astute enough to realize that if the caddy's quoted a number that's 10 yards off, the player's going to override that. But they're part of the team right now, and I would carry a bag for one of these pros. Can you imagine? For one, the purses are so much larger now, so you're taking 5 to 10% depending on their placement plus a wage every week. Some of them get paid really well. Look at what's Scotty Scheffler's caddy's name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Todd something. Made $680,000 in the last small period of time. Right. Look at Steve Williams working for Tiger. He was the richest sportsman from New Zealand, and he wasn't even playing the sport. He was just, he was Tiger's caddy. So, these guys are making money, and several women too. It's sort of in the PGA Tour, it's mostly males in the caddy department. But yeah, it's a career, and you are part of the team in pro golf.
Well, I agree. So we're going to move on. Oh yeah, I think it's Ted Scott, by the way.
Ted Scott.
Well, if I look at one of the other cool traditions when they do a preview of the golf course with Jim Nance's sleepy voice, and I liked it better when Faraday was there, but he's doing a great job on profiles and interviews with Anthony Kim and getting out on the golf course. He had a pretty cool commentary during LIV. Very quickly talk about LIV, where he replayed DeChambeau's shot over the birdie installation, which is sort of their like supper club that they set up. And his shot went over the 18th, over the club, and he played it back over the club onto the green last year in Miami. So they redid the shot. And so Suan and there's another gentleman. Oh, geez, I forget his name. They played the shot, and Faraday said, "I'll stand at the safest place, right by the flag." And he stood there, waited for the shots to come in. He could get hit in the head. The guy's and he's like, oh, but anyways, he's a pretty funny guy. But I loved when he was on there. He got canned, but there's the things change, and one of the other traditions I love, Mike, are the naming of the holes as they go through the holes. So everything from like the first hole called the Tea Olive.
Here, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pop the screen share back on because I had that queued up for us to go through.
Yeah, remember we got to do the amateurs as well. Oh, there you go. Great. So this is hole number 1.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. Okay, so hole number 1 was interesting. It looks like it's fairly flat, but that undulation, a lot of people don't want to hit it in that fairway bunker on the right. You'll notice they'll flail off, and because you're so nervous on the first tee and the fairways are lined with people, a lot of guys pull it. Right-handers pull it into those trees to the left. They get on that pine straw, or they end up on the next fairway over. We've seen that plenty.
Yeah. So it's a par 4, 445 yards. Raph, What are you hitting here? What clubs are getting you to the green?
If I've got to play those back tees, I got to play driver. If I'm playing members tees or more forward tees, I would probably play a 3-wood. How about yourself?
I would play driver off of both options for tees. At 445, this is driver and at best a hybrid. Probably like my 5-wood or something, depending on the time of year and air temperature, a lot of variables to consider. But tell you what, it's not driver 9-iron.
Right. Yeah, a lot of players are doing that. So you see that bunker on the right?
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are clearing that bunker or just left of it. If you're short of it, you gotta have a good angle in. So center, left, center of the fairway is good to be able to see that complex green. But if we're going to do 18 holes, Mike, we're going to be here for an hour.
We'll be here forever. So, we'll just pop through a couple here.
Why don't we pop through the most popular holes that people enjoy? If we go through maybe
back to the grid here, and then we'll go into the back line.
Yeah, maybe we could do like let's go to 12 to Golden Bell, the 155-yard par 3. And so obviously this is one of the most famous pictures in golf. I've actually got a painting somewhere in my storage unit. It's not up yet. I've had it for some time. It used to be in my office.
Your wife won't let that be put up in the house anywhere, will she?
I had it in my office at my golf academy years ago. It used to be up on, but that's an amazing hole. I mean, 155 yards. You have that beautiful vista and mound of people behind you that could actually, get a view of number 11 on White Dogwood, which is that 520 par 4. You could see the green to the left of there.
You see it over here.
Yeah, you could see it a little bit.
Jeez. Could you imagine? I don't even know what I would do if I could, ever get on the ground. So let alone being there to play it. I don't even know where I would start. I'd be freaking out. I would just probably be in the short game area for 3 hours, just hit little wedges and.
You mean playing there? You mean playing
like,
or visiting or like spectator or player?
For going to play, let's just throw we're just going to go to dream mode. You show up
during the Masters or just
anytime. Like
okay,
around
there's a big difference.
There's a big difference. Yeah, we know we're not going to play in the Masters, so give that. If you're thinking you're going to play the Masters, give your head a shake. But say you get the random invite. Condoleezza Rice says, "Raph, I'm taking you today," And
I would. You know what? Why did you have to? Out of everybody you could have picked,
well,
you had to
because I
pick
saw her on
Condoleezza Rice.
the drive, chip, and putt the other day. So
God.
the first
Anyways,
thing
go
that
ahead.
popped in my mind. So
Just keep
she
on
picks
going.
you,
Okay.
Raph. You're gonna play. Could you imagine how crazy it would be? Just show up at the range trying to warm up. Like, yeah, I'd just be freaking out
Yeah.
in excitement and but Anyway, enough of that. What are you
Enough of that.
hitting
Enough of that.
on Golden Bell? What's in your hand? You're playing it as a number
Well, let's.
155. And the
Well,
pin is on the far right. What are you hitting?
okay, so first of all, you get up on the tee, you have a massive crowd behind you. There's a murmur in the air. It's not as loud as something like WM Phoenix, but it's loud, and you could hear different things happening on the property, the echoes and whatnot. If you're saying, Mike, that the weather is perfect, and I'm just going to, like, there's no wind, there's an undulation there going into the creek, right? It could go into that. A lot of people end up in the water there. I would, to be safe, probably play a strong full 8-iron, teed up nicely to be safe, because then I could hit the back bank. I don't want to get into those back bunkers, because trying to get it out of those bunkers to a right pin placement, like you said, is pretty scary, because you're out looking at the crowd again. Even though it's so quiet and secluded on that green, you're out playing towards the crowd and you're looking at the water. Right.
Yeah.
And if it goes just over the green and all that grass is cut down pretty short, it can roll right back into the creek. So, 8 to be safe. If I had adrenaline going, it would be a 9, but I think an 8 would be the club.
Yeah. Remember, you just turned 50, so like you're not hitting it as far as you did 15 years ago, buddy.
Yeah,
so,
thank you for that.
I
thank you for that observation.
I would probably say 8 if it was really warm out and I was hitting it well, but probably a 7. Try and cut it off the center of the green and hopefully stop it in that back, just left to the back corner. Try and ease that putt down. So,
all right. Well, let me just say something. I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me interrupt you, because Mike Castillo just sent me a message. He's watching us, so I just wanted to give him a big shout out again. Castillo Roofing in Florida, repairs, installation, free estimates. Make sure you reach out to him. One of our great sponsors for this podcast. Oh, what do you think Mike's going to play? Mike Kelly. What club is he going to play out there?
I'll give him a 6-iron, and he's going to stiff it right to the middle of the green.
There you go.
Mike? Is that right?
That one's for Mike. All right. So, Michael, what are you playing? I know you criticized my choice really well. I'm reconsidering you not being my caddy now. But go ahead.
Because you don't want to hear reality, and on the bag. So, like I said, I would probably hit a 7. Maybe choke down on it a little bit and cut it in off the center of the green and try to hopefully fade that into the right side, have some spin and control it. If the weather was really hot, I would hit 8, and if I was striking the ball well, 8 would be one of those 2 clubs. I don't anticipate 9-iron because I just don't hit it that far anymore.
So I've got some favorite holes. You want to pop it on another hole? We'll do one more hole, maybe.
We'll do. Let's do 15.
Knows
15.
15. I was going to say 18, but 15's okay. Firethorn, right? That's the 550-yard par 5. I wish we had a flyby. That's a pretty crazy hole. I like the way Mike Weir always played this hole. It's a 3-shot to the green hole. Right, I would lay up on my second. I would play a 3-wood, and I play a longer iron. I probably play a 4-iron or a hybrid. Try to get inside 120 yards for my approach shot over the creek, and then I could peacefully walk over. I believe it's the Hogan Bridge, right? Try to 2-putt and walk out of there with a par. Maybe make bird depending on where I place the ball. I do not want to be over the green. There's no way it's a 2-shot hole for me. But the crazy thing is, rumor has it, Tiger played a practice round today and hit that in 2.
Yeah, well, I would probably have a similar game plan as you. driver for sure. I'd hit driver off of every hole except the par threes. Just let that be known, and I'd lay it up to. I would like to have a pitching wedge in my hand. I feel I wouldn't want to have any of the scoring wedges per se. Just a stock pitching wedge, control the spin, and just try and get it, within 20 feet, 25 feet of that pin, and putting for birdie. And like you said, stroll across that bridge, stress free, and see what happens. But speaking of Tiger, he was the first one at the range, I believe, this morning, hitting wedges and
I'm going to say I feel better about Tiger, and I'll tell you why. I don't know what he's going to shoot. I don't know if he's going to withdraw, if he's going to make the cut. I'm sure he doesn't want to break his record. He withdrew last year, so it doesn't count as a miscut. Well, because he wouldn't have made the cut last year, I don't think. And so, but this year, watching him walk down the fairways and around the practice area, he doesn't have that wobbly limp. Now he does; it's noticeable, but it's not as bad. He looks fit. It looks like he trimmed down a little bit on his weight. His countenance, his face, and he doesn't look overly exhausted. He looks rested.
Well, did you hear what Nota Begay said yesterday? I don't know when he said it, but I read it yesterday that his ankle is locked up, and he does have some problems there. So that's concerning. And we all know Nota's a very tight friend of Tiger's. And also Tiger's very private. So I wonder if that pissed him off that Nota's letting everyone know that he might be, or is that intentional? Let people underestimate him, and Tiger's going to come out. Wow, anything could happen with this guy.
Tiger's going to be a little bit more vocal. I think his interview is tomorrow.
Yes.
At some point. I think it's in between Rahm and another person, probably around 11, 12. I saw the schedule I would have to look it up again. But let's get those amateurs up on screen. We'll stop talking about the course because we could do a breakdown for 3 hours on the hole here. Although that's something really interesting. We might come back on this week again.
One more thing before we get off of Tiger Woods, he's probably feeling a little backed up by this point. So because he did announce that he's not going to have sex prior till the Masters.
Now, is that true? Was that a rumor? I don't think he would.
Is that BS, or you tell me he's not?
I don't. If he's so private that this is the biggest unprivate thing he would ever say. Yeah. I think it's one of those social media rumors.
It could be.
And everybody's gone with it.
Does that include self-gratification? Because that's some discipline.
That is some discipline. Hey, we're talking about the course length on these holes. They're pretty long now. When Tiger won back in 2000, the course played 6,900 yards. It's playing 7,500 yards now. 7,555 to be exact. Yeah. Right? When he played it was 6,985 yards. We're talking about a 500-yard difference. That's like adding a hole.
Yeah.
You're adding. Absolutely. It's like 19 holes. It's tougher for the shorter guys, but somehow guys like Mike Weir still are able to get around, like Brian Harmon, like Zach Johnson. What is it about this course, Mike, you think that even the shorter hitters are still able to compete?
That amazes me with the shorter hitters, because here, look at hole number 5, Magnolia, par 4, 495 yards. Already, in my mind, I'm playing for bogey. So it's these short players, for them to get around and make pars on these, they're hitting a long club into these greens, if at best a 3-iron or 4-iron, but probably one of their woods. Right. And even like par 4, 450, that sounds short compared to 495. And look at this. Here's another one. White Dogwood, hole number 11, 520 yards that you mentioned earlier. Par 4. That's a beast.
Well, look at this. Look, I'll give you a stat. In 1940, the course was playing 6,800 yards. And it only advanced in length in 60 years, 100 yards.
Yeah.
190 yards, if I was to do exactly, but 60 years. And then in the past couple of years, it's gone up 500 yards in 20 years. So you can see the advancement in technology, the advancement in the golfer, because they're fitter, they're longer, they're faster. Obviously, that has a lot to do with it. But in general, from 1940 to today, that's how far back the stats go on the length of the golf course. I don't know why they don't have it back in 1934 when things started. It might be around, but I just don't have it with me.
Well,
I mean, we're talking a difference of, wow, we're talking 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's
Almost, since the inception. Yeah. Oh, I see why. Because the way the course was laid out before, I don't think it had the 18, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the course, the par 3 course, how much fun would that be to play? Even if you said, Raph, you can come down, you can play the par 3 course, but not the other place. Like, would you be on the plane? How quick would you book your ticket? Like, I would be there. How fun would that be? You look at this aerial view of the entire property, and you can see
and that's a real rendering. I looked at the Augusta map. Don't ask me why. This week I was looking at an aerial shot of Augusta, the whole city. It's so green compared to all the other property and land around it.
Mm-hmm.
Is like a darker green, and Augusta is sort of like a shining beacon, like on those aerial maps. And the par 3 contest, of course, Mike, I would, how much I love par 3s. You and I always play it. This is how you got me back into the game, is playing those par 3s again. And that par 3 contest started up in 1960. It was the year that Sam Snead won. And the par 3 course that you're talking about was built in 1958. It's really interesting, a little bit on the history of that, the par 3 competition and how it came into. And it's really cool. The winner gets that crystal bowl. Is it a crystal goblet? No, the goblets are for the Eagles. The bowl is for the par 3 contest. Funny enough, no player who's won the par 3 contest went on to win the Masters.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is that still a thing, or is that an old stat?
Yeah, that's still a thing, right? So you'll see players, if they're in the lead of that par 3 contest, they'll dunk a few in the water just to lose it. But I don't know. I think it would be great to see somebody smash that old theory.
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I really, I think it's just coincidence. I mean, there's no.
It's think about it. It doesn't matter. It's such a hard tournament to win. There's arguably one of the top fields of golf, and it's a difficult golf course. So it's a hard feat to take down the Masters.
I remember hearing about that property in general. There used to be an old peach plantation or a fruit plantation. And that's what it was. And the way that it was kind of laid out, Bobby Jones always talked about how it was already pretty much laid out. Well, maybe he saw the vision, right? But because of the clearing on how the pastures were laid out, that was basically like some of the fairways, right?
Right.
Yeah, it would be great to go out there and see all that. We'll see what happens with the Champions Dinner, and everything that happens. I love what Tiger served up, right? We talked about Scheffler, but even Tiger back in the day, he's the one who did chicken sandwiches and cheeseburgers, right? I think that's a great idea because everybody tries to get all fancy, right?
I'm good with all kinds of food, whether it's fine dining or just simple pub food. I like everything for the most part. So I'm sure John Rahm's choices are going to be delicious. It looks like a huge production, and really but at the same time, with John Rahm's case, he's trying to show off some of his mother's cooking and grandmother's recipes and some of the Spanish dishes. So it's something unique's great. As the Americans, like ribs and meat, like that's all. It's a staple right across the country. So like Scheffler's, it sounds delicious. They're very simple and delicious. I'm a fan of all of it. So It's really that easy.
Mike. I know you. I've gone out to eat with you. You're a foodie. You like good food. You don't like garbage. And I'm sure even if it was fries, chicken sandwiches, and cheeseburgers for Tiger back in when was it, in 1998? Because he won in 97 in an epic fashion that if any of you followed golf would know that, or have seen scenes from that tournament, which are just undescribable. People making an impact. We talk about controversial things at Augusta with that comment. There were a lot of things that happened with comments. There was a lady named, was it Martha Burke, who was, trying to fight for women's rights. There's also Fuzzy Zeller, who had some weird comments about the food, but we're not going to get into the negative.
That now, but that was like Fuzzy was the beginning of the change of the guard, and when political correctness started to come out there. He cracked a joke, a locker room joke that
wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny, and it was before the time everyone was getting canceled, and he got canceled. He lost his Kmart contract, or Zellers. He lost a few sponsorship deals because of that. And that was sort of one of the big sports comments that went around and had some consequence, and to realize like, hey, you can't just have locker room jokes on air. That it's not acceptable. Like, even look what Tiger and JT, when a couple of years back when Tiger handed JT a tampon, the backlash that went around.
Oh my gosh. Who was the oh my gosh, her name escapes me. The female commentator on the Golf Channel. She was on for years. She did the Masters. She did a lot of the tour. She made a comment about Tiger, saying the only way he's going to lose this tournament is if they take him in the back alley and lynch him. And that was sort of Kelly Tillman.
I was watching that live. I'm like, oh my God, Kelly.
So was I. Like, and it's funny because they're friends. Supposedly they have a relationship. They've known each other for years. It's sort of one of those things that slip that you might say between friends or family members but it's not right in any sense, right?
No, it's not. It's right. See, the thing is, like, people are scared to crack jokes, and that was really, she was trying to be funny, and it was a little inappropriate to be said on air. And fortunately, like, she dealt with it. I believe she apologized fairly quickly, and it didn't affect her career-wise. She did sort of get away with that one.
She's back at the Masters doing On the Range. I don't know. I didn't see any footage of her this year, but she was doing that last year. And she's a great commentator. She's very good at what she does. Great broadcaster. Yeah. I find her very knowledgeable and great to listen to. She holds a great conversation, and she's not bubbly, and she knows her stuff, and she holds her own.
She was fantastic on the Golf Channel. I wonder where she is now. We should look into that and see if we can get her on.
That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. Hey, Mike, let's get into these amateurs. If you click on the amateur's name, I think on that website, there's a breakdown of each player, because a lot of people don't know who these guys are. As a personal pick, would be Stuart Hagestad. Just because he's an older player, he's played there a few times, and it's tough to pick an amateur. You never know which one of these guys are going to play well. How about yourself?
I think I'm going to go with Neil Shipley, because I've watched him play more than the other guys on the card here, but I'm going to go with him. You never know with these amateurs, and these guys are going to be just thrilled to be there. But it's a whole new ball game for them, being in a field with all these major champions, and being at Augusta. I think they're all winners for being there at this point. But if I was going to put money down to one of these guys finishing top am, I'll go with Shipley.
He's an interesting pick. I love. I can't believe how much power these guys generate and how far they hit it. He's 23 years old. He's 6'3". He's the reigning U.S. amateur champion over at Cherry Hills Country Club. Great pick, Mike. I don't know. To tell you the truth, when I look at the amateurs, I never know who's going to be, top amateur or is going to make the cut. Like, I've heard a lot about this Santiago de la Fuente kid who's supposedly better than anybody ever anticipated.
Yeah.
But speaking of Stewart, I like him because he made his debut at Augusta in 2017. So he's got a finish. He's got a T36 at this event. He's been playing for a fairly long time. He's 32 years old, so he's more of a mature golfer, and I think it takes a mature game to be able to get the ball around, and even for an amateur. So also a very tall guy who hits the ball long. That's needed. He's 6'5". Speaking of guys who are tall,
wow.
Right? He was part of the winning team at the Walker's Cup for the Walker's Cup. And his stats are showing, I think, from what I remember, let me see here. Yeah, his birthday is coming up on April 10th. So,
all right.
It would be a great birthday present to be top amateur. But I don't ever expect the amateurs to contend. Maybe a good top 25 would be an excellent finish, but you have to realize who you're playing against and what you're going against. The guys who do this for a living, day in, day out. They eat, sleep, and go to bathroom golf, right? It's really hard.
If they make the cut, that's a win for them, really, right? If they can, finish low am and win the prize, that bodes well for their career. But it's a hell of an experience. They're all fantastic golfers. To get to this point, to be invited to the Masters, you know that they can hit the ball, and it's one of those types of tournaments. You make you three putt a few times and put a ball in the water and you're out, right? So like you need to perform. So and it's a challenging course. It's a challenging walk. A lot of pressure. So the one who has the strongest mental attitude. And maybe the ability just to let it all go and enjoy the moment, hit some shots, and they probably will have the best chance at taking the low spot.
Yeah. So we're looking at the past champion. We're looking at John Rahm. A guy who had the lowest score ever was 268. It was by Dustin Johnson in 2020. I think that's when they played at a different time of year, though. But if I look at a player who's a first timer like you just picked, I'm going to look at someone like Ludwig Åberg. He's Swedish. He's 6'3". He's already got a win on tour. Got the runner up at the A&T Pebble Beach event. Also, hits the ball longer than most players, and he could shape it both ways. And he's already at 23 inside the top 30 in the world. Yeah. So that's a pretty funny stat, considering he just turned.
He's like all of a sudden's on the Ryder Cup team, and
exactly.
Fast for him, right? He's a young star, so anything could happen. It's interesting here is Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay almost have the identical look and finish to their golf swings. So they probably have the same coach.
Right.
So, but I got to stop the screen share here. Hopefully we don't get in trouble from the Masters organization.
Oh, of course not. We're promoting the event. We're having fun.
We're not making any money off that. We're just using that as, just so we can make sure we're talking about the right players. We'll start talking about Taylor Gooch, who's not in the field. Even though Greg Norman called him the best ball striker out of the last 20 years. So
that was an interesting comment. I remember when he said that this weekend.
So he is a great player. It's just he's taken a ripping because he's gone over to LIV. Had he won three or four PGA Tour events in the last year and a half instead of LIV, people will be talking about him as the next best thing. So give it time. It's any of these players, whatever tour, PGA or LIV, they're all amazing golfers.
I think we're going to wrap things up, Mike. Though that's a lot of golf. We broke down the holes. We talked about the players. We had Mike Kelly on for a little bit, talking about his Scotty Scheffler pick and what they do. We talked about Lagmaster Sports. So just a quick recap. My big picks. Past champ Tiger Woods, LIV League players Brooks Koepka, PGA Tour players Scotty Scheffler, to throw 3 out there, and of course a Canadian, Corey Connors. My picks have been brought to you by Castilla Roofing, repairs, installation in Florida, free estimates. Come on, guys, give these guys a chance. You'll not regret it. As well as we've got our Masters contest with Lagmaster Sports. Mike Dickson, top 100 PGA player of the year, has a giveaway, the Rock Shot, cap, jersey, mini club, training aid. If you follow us on YouTube, it's one of the 15 platforms we're on. It's the channel that we're trying to grow. So go on there. Obviously, we're on Twitter. We had a great response last week, Mike. We got over 5,000 impressions when we had our friend on talking about the LIV Golf League. Surprisingly, we got a lot of hits, a lot of comments, a lot of DMs about that. So we'll maybe get more LIV guests on in the near future, be it players or people working within the organization like media. And so we're looking forward to that. Anything you'd like to say to wrap up?
Just hit sub, like, follow any of our channels, wherever you come across us. It's all appreciated. Goes a long way. If you want to repost it or retweet, reshare, whatever, we're tremendously grateful for that. And again, thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week with Mike Dickson and perhaps some other guest tunes.
I just had a big sneeze there. Have a great week, guys. Have a great Masters week. We'll see you next time.